Jesus had raised a man from the dead. The news spread far, not just throughout the town of Bethany where it happened, but into Jerusalem and other surrounding towns and cities as well. The chief priests and Pharisees are frightened. More and more people are using dangerous words like Messiah, which our Greek New Testaments often translate to Christ when they speak of Jesus. They're calling him the Anointed One, the Messiah. It's a loaded term. Throughout their history, those chosen by God and ordained to certain services are anointed. Kings, priests, prophets, all of these may be anointed to mark them for their service to God and to God's people. They have been waiting for a promised king, one who will be descended from David, to save them. And they're going to find out eventually that their king will also be a prophet and a priest for them. But it's that king title that's associated with the term Messiah that really frightens the Jewish leaders so much, because they live under Roman occupation. And the Romans are not known for tolerating rival claims to authority. If Rome hears that there is a rival king on the scene, they could do anything. Raid the holy city of Jerusalem, destroy the temple even. It's particularly dangerous now when Passover is so near, because the holy city is being filled with people traveling into the city to celebrate their holy holiday. And so the chief priests and the Pharisees determined that Jesus must die, and soon. They say it is better for one man to die than for their nation to die. Jesus knows that the plot to kill him is becoming more imminent by the day. He retreats to the edge of the wilderness for a short time with his disciples, but Passover is approaching quickly, and Jesus plans to spend the holiday in the holy city, as is his custom. So, we find ourselves where our text begins, 6 days before the feast. He goes to the neighboring town of Bethany, where this controversy really began to stir up, when he raised Lazarus from the dead. Jesus goes to Bethany to visit his friends Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. We find them doing exactly what you would expect people to do who had experienced the miracle of resurrection. They are throwing a party, celebrating, having a feast in honor of the person who brought life to their house where they had been mourning. They're rolling out the proverbial red carpet and offering every means of welcome available to them to the one who changed the entire course of their lives for the better. People have been calling Jesus the Messiah, the Anointed One, since John chapter 1. But while the people proclaiming this do believe that Jesus is chosen and set apart by God for a specific mission, he has not actually been anointed until now. When Mary, the sister of Lazarus, in an extravagant act of hospitality, generosity, and love, anoints Jesus. She doesn't take the liberty of anointing his head, and she doesn't use the olive oil that you might expect for an honored guest. Instead, she pours out an entire jar of her most expensive perfume on the teacher's feet, and she dries it with her hair. It is an act of kindness and devotion to the one who is her friend, her teacher, and her king. It is an act born of deep gratitude and love. And although Mary might not realize it in this moment, it is a prophetic action in multiple ways, because Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. The very next day, he will be welcomed into the city as the true king. He will soon be hung on a cross And above his head in 3 languages will hang a sign declaring him the king. It will be meant to mock him, but it will reveal the reality that his enthronement as king comes in this stark moment of death. Mary does not know all of these things as she anoints Jesus. She does not know just how appropriate her action is. She is just acting out of devotion to her Lord and Master. But in this great act of love, she joins a crucial moment in the story God is laying out. One that is much bigger than Jesus raising only her brother from the dead. She is not the high priest, and she is not standing in a palace or on the steps of the temple. She is a simple woman in her home who boldly puts her gratitude and love on display. And in so doing, takes on the role of a priest in anointing the Messiah, in marking him as the chosen one as he prepares for his most important task from God. And so, the Messiah, the anointed one, finally is what people have been calling him for the past few years of his ministry. He is set apart, anointed, ordained for an important mission that he goes to Jerusalem to complete. And the one who ordains him to the work has no idea how profound this moment is, or what exactly she is ordaining him for. But even in her ignorance, she is anointing the one she and her siblings claim as their king with the joy of a resurrection in her heart. The gathered group at the feast don't understand all of these things. Mary's action feels odd, and the scent of the perfume takes over the room as people begin to talk about her bold choice here. Judas openly objects to the extravagant display. The bottle of perfume is worth about a year's wages. Why waste it on Jesus' feet when there are hungry people who need to be fed? Though the gospel does tell us that Judas asks this out of greed rather than true concern for the poor. Jesus shuts this and any other objection down. He sees the prophetic nature of Mary's action. He knows that this moment is a preparation for his coming burial. Jesus is about to walk into the most challenging week of his ministry yet. One in which he will be falsely accused, beaten and humiliated. He will die in a brutal way that is designed to demonstrate the power of Rome by stripping him of his human dignity. Mary's anointing here marks him as the king he truly is. It preemptively prepares him for his burial, and she does it with the greatest reverence, dignifying him in this moment, days before all of these very undignifying things are about to take place. I cannot help but wonder if this moment helps give Jesus the strength and courage he needs to face what lies ahead. It is an action that seems simple, used to mark those who are chosen, kings and prophets and priests, and here it marks someone who is all three. The family of Lazarus is not new to marking Jesus as who he is and noting it. Martha had declared her unwavering belief that Jesus is the Christ, even in the face of death. And now here is Mary, her life having been changed forever by this man that she claims as the promised king sent from God. And so she anoints him. She knows she is anointing the Messiah, the promised king. She does not know that in 6 short days, Jesus will be enthroned as the true king of the world in a moment of death. She does not know that she is simultaneously preparing him to take his place as king of the world and as Passover lamb. that her perfume prepares him for his grave and his ascension. And she does all of this out of gratitude and joy in the wake of a resurrection, not yet understanding that Jesus is the one who will make way for all resurrections to come. It's a different sort of anointing than one might expect for the great high priest and promised king. Of course, Jesus is going to be a different sort of king than people expect. The rulers of Rome demonstrate their power through crucifying people. And Jesus takes his place as king and demonstrates his power most clearly in the moment in which he is crucified. He will wear a crown made of thorns instead of one made of gold. His power defies all expectations, just as this ordination at the hands of Mary does. Mary does not fully understand her role in the story unfolding. She does not understand all of the mysteries of God or the divine plan. She does know that Jesus is the Messiah, that he has brought the gift of life to her home. And she responds to this knowledge that she does have faithfully, in a great act of love and generosity towards her master. She welcomes Jesus extravagantly and recognizes him as her king, and takes her place in God's story as the one who anoints the Messiah for his saving work. We, like Mary, do not understand every mystery of the divine, although we do have the advantage of more of the story than she does, including her own prophetic action. But like Mary, we have an opportunity to recognize and name Jesus as our king. He is not the sort of king that we may expect. He doesn't cling to power and abuse it wantonly. He doesn't display power through cruelty. Instead, he approaches us and others with compassion and mercy, sometimes more than we want to see when he shows mercy to our enemies. He becomes king through death, and in so doing, brings us all life. If you would like to join Mary in claiming Jesus as your king today, I invite you to come forward as we sing.